Hi, I'm Andy Jagow, pastor of Bethany Lutheran Church and Preschool, out here on a very busy Beacon Hill Road behind me. I hope you can hear me over the traffic noise. So this is where our church is located, 2501 Beacon Hill Road. Lots of people going back and forth. And as you are leaving our parking lot, coming out of here, our worship service, hopefully this is what you see. You are now entering the mission field. A bit of a reminder that what you have received in this sanctuary, you are taking out into the world with you as your journey continues. We're on a journey right now through the story. Now, hopefully, about a month ago, we began by previewing this on Rally Day, and maybe you've read chapter 1 of the story, or the first few chapters of Genesis, or maybe you've slept since then. And if you've slept since then, just know that the story begins with Adam and Eve and the garden that God made to dwell with his people, and then sin messes it up. There's a separation now between God and his people. The rest of the story is how God is going to remove that barrier. He's going to get back to his people and bring his people to him to live forever. So this is where we're going. And along the way, there's a lot of, I said rivers and streams in the previous video. There's a lot of stories and a lot of tales that involve individual people like Abraham and Sarah. And that's who we meet in chapter 2. They're on a journey, just like these people behind me here. God calls them out of one place and takes them to another. Now, a journey is like, it's a motif. It's one of those main themes that are carried through the story. And oftentimes in the Bible, people are going physically from one place to another, often because God tells them to, like Abraham. Or there's a spiritual journey. There's something that transforms somebody. They go from one place to another spiritually. And in this chapter of the story, I think we get a little bit of both. St. Paul writes almost 2,000 years later about Abraham. And he says this about Abraham: against all hope, Abraham, in hope, believed, and so became the father of many nations. Now, Abraham and Sarah believed, but they had a hard time believing. There's all kinds of ways in which they're on their journey, but they take a wrong turn. So it's kind of like when your GPS suddenly tells you that you've taken a wrong turn by saying rerouting. And God has to reroute Abraham and Sarah a number of times. But at the end, a child is born. And this nation is going to grow. God is going to begin to reconcile himself to his people by building this nation, and it starts with this child named Isaac. Why is he called Isaac? Because Isaac means laughter. And this is what Sarah says. She says, God has brought me laughter when this child is born. So this story has it all. It has journey, it has laughter, it has rerouting, and all those things that are happening. And it has, I think, some very important foreshadowing. How is God ultimately going to reconcile his people through this nation that he's making through Abraham and Isaac's son Jacob? Well, we get that at the end of the chapter. Almost to the end of the chapter, where Isaac is going to be sacrificed. God calls for the sacrifice of this son. And Abraham obeys, and Isaac says, Dad, where's the sacrifice? We're supposed to be, what are we supposed to be sacrificing? And Abraham very prophetically says, God will provide the sacrifice. And that's what happens. And that's also what it happens in the story, in the rest of the story. And that's the journey that we're on, to see this chapter by chapter and to see it unfold. All right, so that's chapter 2, and I hope that you will join us for this exciting journey that we are on. You see me referring back to, this is my notes, this is my journal. And I encourage you, if you want to just pick up one of these on your own, and chronicle your way. Put down your questions, put down your thoughts, put down some of your connections. Share this with me in the adult Bible class. Share them on social media if you feel comfortable doing so. Maybe in your small groups this will come up in conversation. This, as I've said before, this journey that we're on together is something that benefits from having fellow travelers who will add to the discussion, add to the questions, and add to the learning that we are doing together in the story. May God bless our reading as we read, mark, learn, and inwardly digest His Word into our lives. Amen.